The specific insurance coverage that was taken out on the just 7 weeks before, keep that in mind, was $3.55 billion per occurrence. Silverstein later argued in court that the two hitting the were two separate occurrences, doubling the potential payout to $7.1 billion.
Oh yeah, Diddy got a podcast.
Well, I'm not so concerned. I'm not as much concerned about what Trump said in this video because we've already been hearing him say this often. I'm more interested in the person he's standing beside. This person right here, it's funny how the answer can be right there in our face sometimes. This guy right here is a Jewish businessman named Howard Lutnick, who is the CEO of something called the Cantor Fitzgerald, and is a very interesting character to say the least, because not only was he the neighbor of Jeffrey Epstein, which a lot of people don't even know who this guy is, let alone that he was a neighbor of Jeffrey Epstein. But things get a little bit more interesting when you delve into his history, because this guy is also tied to 9/11. Because on this day, Howard was scheduled to be at the company's offices in the North Tower on September 2001, but overslept and missed his usual morning flight from Newark to LaGuardia, which is very convenient. His absence likely saved his life, as Cantor Fitzgerald lost approximately 658 of its 960 employees who worked in the tower segment hit by Flight 11. Well, things get even more interesting when you look into this person, just like things got very interesting when you looked into the background and the people around Martin Luther King Jr. In 2019, Howard Lutnick will become business partners with a gentleman by the name of Larry Silverstein, who is the CEO and founder of the company Silverstein Properties. Why is this important? Because just 7 weeks before 9/11, Larry Silverstein signed a 99-year lease from the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey to operate the entire World Trade Center complex. So to put it into layman terms, this person, Larry Silverstein, took out insurance on the towers. But it gets worse. The specific insurance coverage that was taken out on the just 7 weeks before, keep that in mind, was $3.55 billion per occurrence. Silverstein later argued in court that the two hitting the were two separate occurrences, doubling the potential payout to $7.1 billion. Not only that, but the insurance type included coverage for terrorist attacks, which became the most controversial detail. In early 2001, terrorism insurance was not common for most properties because the 1993 WTC bombing did raise concerns, but insurers still saw large-scale terrorism as low probability. Policies typically didn't explicitly cover acts of war or terrorism, but Silverstein insisted on it, which seemed very specific and forward-thinking, especially given the short window before the attacks. He not only secured the $3.55 billion in coverage on a $3.2 billion lease, but then after 9/11, he collected $4.55 billion after court battles, more than the lease cost, making it appear like a financial win despite the tragedy. So is it a coincidence that Trump is seen in multiple photos and videos with this person, this random person who has this random connection to Jeffrey Epstein, and to now standing right there behind him? And again, if you watch the Martin Luther King documentary, you'll understand how all these coincidences just keep stacking up with these insignificant people that stands around the people that we see speaking. Because again, I am under the belief that whenever we see these leaders and these people speaking, regardless of how confident and cocky they are, they're speaking on behalf of someone else's interest. They're speaking on behalf of their funders, their sponsors, and their handlers. Which reminds me, Ghislaine Maxwell, if you all remember, I'm going to take you back to 2019. When Jeffrey Epstein was arrested, Ghislaine Maxwell, a lot of you all don't remember, a lot of people was actually looking for Ghislaine Maxwell because they were like, well, if he's guilty, she's guilty too. She needs to be on trial too. So they were looking for Ghislaine Maxwell, and the New York Post, who seems to be the first people to get these exclusive drops, just like they got the exclusive drop when Jeffrey Epstein unalived himself, but we'll get to that. There's this photo that randomly got dropped by the New York Post of Ghislaine Maxwell just sitting there at this table and at one point even reading a book. Well, let me tell you why this is so weird. Because this same photo that you're looking at, just like they used metadata, they looked at the metadata for the Jeffrey Epstein jail footage that the Trump administration just gave us a couple of days ago. And the metadata said that it was not only not raw footage, but there was more than just a minute missing from this jail footage video that they gave to us. But this video was missing closer to 3 minutes. Well, the same thing goes for this Ghislaine Maxwell photo that we're looking at, because it turns out that it wasn't just a random civilian that was out and about and just looked like, oh, look, it's Ghislaine Maxwell randomly sitting outside this restaurant called In-N-Out. No, the Daily Mail looked into the metadata behind that photo to then only find out that not only was it not just a regular civilian that took this photo, but it traced back to this company that is owned by the attorney for the Maxwells. But not only that, in this photo, she's reading a book. And look at the name of this book. Do I need say more? But not only that, there was this sign on a billboard behind Ghislaine Maxwell that was promoting this movie. What is this movie about? Well, it will later come out and revealed that this photo was actually photoshopped, because this advertisement for this movie was never there. The owner of this billboard that advertises and promotes things came out and said there's nowhere in their records where it ever shows where they ever promoted this movie. So who placed it in this photo and why?